Hi, my name's Lara. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Lara.
So I've known Beth for quite a while. We live in the same area and have attended meetings in the same area for quite a while. And I think we've had some similar sponsorship over some time. But what I really got to know Beth is when she was the DCM for District 18, and I was a GSR, and she was our DCM, and during kind of the last part of COVID, really, and so I got to see how a DCM can, hold a district together, even though there was a lot of it was difficult. It was a difficult time to be in general service. It was a difficult time to try to be sober and be in AA. But Alcoholics Anonymous really rallied, and we did some amazing things during COVID. And Beth was part of doing amazing things for District 18. So I'm excited to hear her story. I don't know that I've ever heard your story. I've heard you speak in meetings before, but like your story, I haven't heard. So I'm excited to hear that. So come on up.
Pee and pray. That's what my sponsor said. Hi, guys. My name is Beth, and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Hi. My anniversary is 11/23/16. Thank you so much for inviting me. Kind of a thank you and a I hate you. The same thing. My home group is Solid Sobriety. My sponsor is Karen Chandler. Happy birthday to those who are celebrating this month, and congratulations for those who aren't, that just have another 24 hours. It's an honor and a privilege to be among you all. It's an honor and a privilege to not cry, just to be sober. I am the secretary for my home group. I was a treasurer for my home group was Whiskey Rose, and it dissolved in January. A lot of meetings through COVID didn't make it, just with everything else. I was DCM for District 18 for 2 years, 2023 and 2024. I was a co-breeder. That was really fun. I was an events coordinator. I made up the position because I wanted to go and play. And so I just made up events, and then I made myself events coordinator. Because that's what we do when we're alcoholics. I was set up and take down. I was coffee maker, GSR for my home group. I was told it's important to keep your grass green at your home group, which means that you always want to be of service at your home group in order to help your group grow. I became a GSR, I think within a year of sobriety, because I went to an assembly with my sponsor, and there was a guy that was talking, and he said he was a grand spiritual ruler. I said, what the hell is that? And she said, I don't know. And so I don't remember shit. I can't remember anything, but I could remember this. And so I went home and I said, I'm going to be a grand spiritual ruler, a GSR. And I told my daughter, and she still to this day says, are you still a grand spiritual ruler? I said, no, I'm an ex grand spiritual ruler. But so about me, at age 11, I was burned 33% of my body. It was before there was ever any burn units or anything else. Really fun times. I was supposed to die, but you're young and dumb and you live, I guess. I don't know. But I started drinking when I was 15. Everybody in my family drank, and they're proud of you. Everybody's proud of me. Anyway, at age 25, I had 2 DUIs at Pierce County and at Skagit County. I was pulled over 2 years later and got to spend time in Kirkland because I didn't have a driver's license. So I decided May 30th, 1986, that I would sober up. Well, I didn't. I had to because I had to get a driver's license. But anyway, so I went to treatment. and I was sober for 23 years. 0 to 5, I worked and I was in the middle. I had a sponsor. I did everything. And then I got the dream. I got the house. I got the guy. I got the kids. Great job. Life is good. And my husband was from in the program. So, I mean, we didn't drink there. We had it all. So I didn't do anything. So from 6 to 13, I'd go to a meeting like every 3 months, just because I think that they deserve to see me. I was kind of cool. I worked downtown Seattle, and you go to this, the YMCA, and they had actually dancers and stuff. You get to go there and see famous people. So it was kind of fun. So I'd go to that every now and then. But I didn't, for the last 10 years of the 23 years, I didn't do shit. I was just a dry drunk. And then I got a divorce. I had 20 years of marriage, 23 years of sobriety. I was cured. I don't know if any of you guys have been cured, but you're looking at somebody that was, because I had raised teenagers and I didn't drink. I buried my mom. I buried my grandma. I mean, I didn't drink through any of this stuff, so I must have been cured because I hadn't gone to a meeting. I didn't have any friends, so there was my life. Yeah, and yeah, there it was amazing how my head went. Even though I knew about Alcoholics Anonymous, I'd been in it, I could do it, I could go back to it. I didn't need it because, you know, I mean, I'm gonna go out and I am gonna meet Mr. Right in the bar because that's where he would be. Anyway, I started drinking again. I was alone, and somebody asked me why, and I said I was alone and lonely. That's what I don't ever like to be. I hadn't been in a meeting. Okay, anyway, August 2016, I filed bankruptcy because I was out partying. I was going to the casinos, a little bit of both. It doesn't leave a lot of money for mortgage. So I hired me an attorney, filed the bankruptcy, and that was $2,500. What? I went to the casino. I won $2,000 and I got a DUI. So that was my third DUI. I thought for sure I was going to do a year because I watched TV enough. And that's what it said. So I know I don't look good in orange. I know this is kind of orange, but not really. I mean, it's jumpsuit kind of thing. So anyway, I had to pay another $3,500 for the DUI attorney. So because I filed bankruptcy, it really helped me for the DUI because I didn't have to pay any of the other bills. But I cried every day. I was 3 days sober and I went to the Blue House. And I was evaluated at the treatment center. And they wanted me to start on Friday. So I go in there on a Thursday and they wanted me to start on Friday. And I said, God, I can't. And they said, well, why? And I said, well, Apple Cup is going on and I'm not going to drink, but I just need to watch Apple Cup. And I sit there today and I think, you know, we all have excuses. And they let me start on Monday and I didn't drink. I was too scared to drink. I just didn't want to miss my sports. So I had my first foreclosure notice on my house. So I'd come home because again, the bankruptcy and the DUI, which one is, in fact, my daughter is a caretaker, a very good caretaker. But anyway, she's like, I told her about the bankruptcy and the next day I have the DUI and she's like, okay, I found out about the car and what we're going to do about the bankruptcy. And I said, honey, we're moving on. I need an attorney for the DUI. And she's like, no, Mom, this is what we're going to do. And she's just like all worried. And So anyway, I had my first foreclosure notices on my house. I did the ugly cry, I called my sponsor, and my biggest concern was that my mom in heaven wasn't going to be able to find me when I moved, because the only place that she knew me at was this townhouse. And my sponsor said, that's a third step prayer. So I'd be doing this third step prayer, I think, friggin' every day. May 6th, I was 6 months sober. I was getting ready for court, and got called by the breast doctor because they didn't like my pictures. I guess I didn't smile. Anyway, they were some spots in there that they didn't like. So I went to court. I got a $1,700 fine to do community service for my DUI. And I had a missed call from my dad, who had emergency heart surgery. I did the ugly cry again, and I got to drive with a blow and go in my car all the way to Bellingham. Step 3. I learned the step 3 really fast early on. Did amends to my kids, my dad, and my ex-husband. My ex-husband, I thought, because I was pretty much the angel child of the two of us. But anyway, when I did it, I thought that the sea should part and I should be, all this kind of stuff should happen, but it didn't. But the one thing it did do is my kids called me and said, oh, you must have done an amends to dad. And I said, why? And they said, well, because he said that you guys are talking and you're being really nice to each other. I'm like, oh, okay. It's kind of like the sea splitting. So that's pretty much my story. Life happens. But some of the things that I've done, I've got monthly birthday meetings. What Whiskey Rose, my home group, didn't have birthday meetings. So the fun part was to figure out where we were going to go for a birthday meeting every month. Prior to COVID, we'd go to Olympia once a month. And on 4/20, I quit smoking. On May 18th, May of 2018, I started a new job. So I had this job where I called them B1 and B2 because I wasn't allowed to cuss. And they would come by me at my desk and hit me because I drank with them. And so I quit drinking with them. So they were messing with me all the time. And I'd put my headset on and not talk. And I'd call my sponsor and say, what do I do? And she goes, just don't do anything. And then I had to read page 562 in the back of the big book for 2 weeks. I was reading that for 2 weeks. And she goes, well, what'd you get? And I said, well, I can tell you, they haven't changed any. She goes, well, you got another 2 weeks. So the moral of the story is find out what your sponsor wants you to say before you say. That was what I got out of it. No, so what it was supposed to do was supposed to release me so that I realized that, just like the third step prayer. I've gone to comedy clubs. I've gone to the casino with AA friends, and I can hang. I don't go there unless it is there. I've gone to baseball games. In March of 2019, I went to Lakeside Milam to do a talk, and one of the guys in the treatment center was, when I was drinking in the bar, I was running for president. I know. You're just like, wow. And he was going to be my vice president, but I was afraid that he probably had a scarred record. Anyway, so we didn't really make, so I worked for Costco. I had payroll clerks that were willing to put signs, vote for Beth for president in their yards. Anyway, but that guy, I took him around with me to meetings. He has since passed. He had a brain cancer, but he died sober. We've done those 5K running things. They run, I walk, but that's really fun. Went to dances, pumpkin carving. We've had meetings in parking lots. My sponsor always says, as long as there's 2 of you, there's a meeting. I went to San Francisco. And I went to a CMA meeting, which is Crystal Meth. And I got a nickname of Crystal Beth. I know. You're saying, how cool. There's 150 sober meth addicts there at the conference, and it was just amazing. But at the conference that I'd gone to, Lyle P. in the Big Book, page 552 or 522, Grounded, he was speaking. And it was so super cool. There was 3 of us. We went back to our room, read his story, and then got to go the next day and ask him questions that he didn't say in his story and what was said in the book. And that was just a life experience that I'll never forget. I go to Seahawk games with my son. It's I lived alone when I was drinking, and I didn't think I was hurting anybody. I could tell you that the only one I was hurting was me and my cat, and I found out that my kids were hurting. And the thing that I found out that was even more amazing is that they're just grateful. My daughter is, how old is she? 38. She wants friends like I have. She goes, Mom, I don't know how to get them. And I said, well, we can get a 3-year alcoholic plan going here. You got 2 years of being a drunk, and then we'll sober you up and we'll start going to meetings. But she decided to go a different route and went to a shrink who told her to go to Al-Anon meetings, but she hasn't even done that. But the coolest thing is that she's met a lot of my friends, and she's like, Mom, they're just amazing. So the people in AA we represent, and don't ever think that just because somebody didn't say you were cool when they talked to you right then and there, that they aren't going home and saying it, because we do affect and reflect. Back when I had a belly button birthdays and I was drinking, I'd make plans with 3 different people and I'd sit at home. Today I make plans and I don't have to make them with 3 different people, and whatever I have, people celebrate. We love cake, we love food. I was on a volleyball team. How I Set Your Mother was our group. What was yours?
Screwballs.
Screwball. There's nothing about AA that is ever like, we come up with the weirdest shit. I have had roommates that I can trust today, some not. The decisions I make, sometimes I still have to go and ask my sponsor if it's a good one or not. I had breast cancer on August 27, 2019. I was cancer free. They removed it. I had a torn meniscus on 11/22/19. Okay, this one's, so I always thought my family is full of alcoholics. We die of cancer or heart disease, and only one person's ever died of heart disease. But my nephew is 36 years old, and he took opiates and drank on Sunday, August 16th, 2020, and went and crawled into a car. 8 hours later, baked, and then ambulance was called. He went to the hospital. At first, everybody blamed his mother because he's a middle child who always thrived to get attention from his mom. And she was drinking and doing drugs. But basically, it's the disease that took him. He was brain dead and taken off life support on August 22nd and died on August 26th. His sister stayed in the hospital with him because she didn't want him to die alone. I was so proud of her strength and love. Prior to this, I didn't really believe alcohol could kill anybody. I know it can kill you inside, but not death kind of thing. And I finally saw it. So COVID hit in 2020. God, that was fun. No. What was really fun was finding the underground meetings. We had the best time trying to find out where the next meeting was going to be. there was at first people were scared, but I think after a while we were just tired of being scared and needed to do something different. I think the best part was making new friends and relationships. They all became a lot stronger through the meetings and through. I had meetings at my house, and then a bunch of people. We'd gone to the Covington meeting, and there was a big outbreak of COVID, and so they were like, "Well, should we have the meeting at your house?" And I said, "I don't want to be known as a house that has COVID, so no." So I had to give them 2 weeks. I had surgery again for thyroid. So when you have cancer, they watch you for everything. And so every time I turned around, there was going to be a surgery. That was kind of fun. On 10/22, my dad had colon cancer. Basically, life happens. My dad is he's going to be 88 in September. And for the grace of God, they say the good die young. I said, Dad, you screwed up in your life, man, because you're still alive. He's hanging in there. He keeps going to the hospital like once a week on his breathing. But September, I did an AA golf scramble, and it was a foursome, and my son was on my team. My son is one of us. He hasn't joined us yet. Anyway, my son is an invincible person. He's 34, and he is dealing with depression and anxiety right now, and hasn't gone to work now for 3 months. At one point, I was going to rescue him. It's been a good 3 months of fun times for me. He is drinking a lot, but we're having conversations about it. And I said, you could be one of me. I said, I do believe you're going to be one of me, but you aren't here yet. And eventually, when you decide that you want to go to a meeting with me, you can. He goes with me for my AA birthday all the time, every year. So I always love that meeting. But he is struggling. Then my daughter has depression because she's losing her job. She has a PhD. So she's seeing a psychiatrist. At least she's seeing somebody. My son wasn't. He just has an appointment this week. And then I'm been with a guy for a little bit, and we're breaking up. So that's fun. And the thing is, though, I'm still sober. And so anyway, let's go back to something that was happy. Let's look. March of 2023, I broke my ankle. Oh, that was fun. I was walking down the stairs, and I had this pretty carpet. I have a cat, and she tore up the carpet, and I fell, and the carpet went, and I went and sat on my leg, and it broke, and I got a plate and 5 pins in it. And that was fun. I couldn't walk, I couldn't drive. People took me to meetings, though. That was a cool thing. They would call me up and say, can I take you to a meeting? And I would like, yeah, that sounds good. Today, I have grown so much. If you would have known me when I first came in here, Jeff O used to try and get me just to even read the 7 traditions. And I couldn't look at you all. And actually, I had to imagine you naked. So have fun with that one. But today I can speak in front of people, and I don't care what I sound like. I cared. I think I cared too much. And today it doesn't matter. I can't screw up my story because it's my story. I'd like to change some things, but I wouldn't be where I am today. And today I have sponsees, and I've taken them through the 12 steps like I was taking. And we have love and admiration, and I did not have that when I was drinking. I didn't have the life. I got to keep my condo at my townhouse. It's a townhouse. I've got to keep my townhouse. I've been in it 20 years now. I'm fixing some more stuff up. I have got a job where they love and respect me, and I tell them I'm a drunk. What do you want to do? And then they'll say something about alcohol. In fact, I had to do this quiz, and it was like Tennessee's favorite whiskey, and I'm like, I don't know whiskeys. I really don't even know whiskey. So I had to do some research because I had to find 4 answers. One was right, and then the other 3, and I don't know what goes in fucking whiskey. They didn't ask vodka. I could have answered it. I didn't go with my stuff. Anyway, so let's see. Today, back, I had 9 months sober. I got asked to do a 15-minute talk at a women's meeting. I made it 4 minutes before I started crying and had to walk away. And they clapped. They were proud of me. I was like, damn. What I try to do today is to be better today than I was yesterday. So my goal now, oh yeah, and then I have this furnace. So I have a townhouse. They friggin' have homeowners associations. Don't ever get a homeowners association. It's taken me 4 months. I had my furnace go out when it was cold. I had no heat in my house. I had to wear sweats, and it wasn't even fun to go home. And I'm getting it put in now. It's actually probably in a week or 2. It's going to have air conditioning and a heater, and I'm excited. It's $30K though. But you know what? I'm sober. I can afford it. And there's a time when I filed bankruptcy and I couldn't do shit. Today I have a house, I have a job, I have 2 cars. And these are just friggin' material shit. It means absolutely nothing. But I was bankrupt. I was having that thing on my door. I didn't even know what it looked like. I didn't know what bankruptcy looked like and the experience is not fun. But I can say I experienced it. And the thing is, I stayed sober through all the stuff that goes on, and I know what to do. What I know not to do is to be alone and lonely. What I know not to do is to believe my head when I say that I'm cured. What I know not to do is to not try and reach out. And I have to make phone calls just like I ask my sponsees to make phone calls to me. So for that, I am grateful. And am I close enough? Well, thank you. Bye.